afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the roundtable portion of the future of wine tourism. We'd like to thank Brigitte Bloch for her very insightful and interesting presentation. I think there were a lot of good information there, and I'm sure it has sparked plenty of reflection and questions, which we'll get to shortly. And of course, you in the audience or attending virtually, you're welcome to ask questions of our panel. My name is Janice Brooks. I'm the moderator here. I've been working in wine tourism for 10 plus years in tourism in general, and more recently in wine. And I also am fortunate enough to be a teacher here at Vatel, working with the students that are specializing in wine and spirits. Master's MBA. So what I'd like to do before we get started with questions is maybe just go around and have a very quick introduction by each of our panelists here. Let you just say a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll begin talking. So we'll start with Miss Mary Dardenne.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Mary Dardenne. I am American, but I've been in Bordeaux for about 25 years, and I have been in wine tourism for the better part of those 25 years. So I like to say that I like to teach people how to drink responsibly, of course. We also are very big on education. I'm a certified Bordeaux wine educator, and I do a lot of trainings for the Wines of the Medoc Council. So when we do wine tours in Bordeaux, it's all about the educational aspect, and it's doing very well.
Hi there. I'm Cécile Bonin. I started working in tourism about 15 years ago here in Bordeaux. I started tourism by only traveling. I spent about 4 years traveling in the States, in Great Britain, and Mexico. And when I came back to Bordeaux, I decided to put that in place, and so I studied first foreign languages. Then I carry on with the MBA in tourism in Sup de La Rochelle, and then I started to work in wine tourism industry, because Bordeaux is tourism in Bordeaux is linked to wine always. So I did work in 2 different DMCs here in Bordeaux, L'Agence des Grands Crus, doesn't exist anymore. And then I worked in Bordeaux Excellence, which is quite a big one for the DMCs. And I carry on with Château Dauzac. I've been working in Château Dauzac, so a Grand Cru classé from the Margaux appellation, since 2017. So it's been 5 years now. So I've got about a little bit more than 15 years experience in tourism, wine tourism, or maybe hospitality. As I like to say, I'm not a wine tourism manager at the Château. I'm a hospitality manager.
Hello, my name is Catherine Leparmentier, and I've been working for the Bordeaux Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the last 24 years now. At that point, I was asked to launch an international network that is known under the name of Great Wine Capitals Global Network. So this network is composed of 11 member cities, which are like Bordeaux in France, wine capitals in their countries. We have 5 members. We have 6 members in Europe nowadays. Bordeaux, obviously, which is at the initiative of the project, of the program. Porto, Portugal, Bilbao, and in association with the vineyards of La Rioja. We have Verona, Italy, Mainz, and the Rhine-Hessen Valley, and Lausanne in Switzerland. Out of Europe, 5 members, sorry. We have San Francisco together with Napa Valley, Mendoza, Argentina, Valparaiso, Chile, Cape Town and the Cape Winelands in South Africa, and Adelaide and all the wine regions of South Australia. Within the network, we have been focusing for the last 20 years or so about wine tourism, because when we started this activity, I noticed that through my different trips around, that there was a business that existed somewhere else in other places, particularly in Napa Valley, but also in Australia and everywhere in the new world of wine that was just not existing or hardly existing in Europe and in France and in Bordeaux in particular, which is wine tourism. Today we say œnotourism, but the word did not even exist at the time. You know, it was very, very new and very weird to think that our chateaus in Bordeaux should open their doors to visitors. In particular, because the chateaus would not sell the wines to the visitors. And we still have some Grand Cru Classé in Bordeaux today that have wine tourism services and hospitality departments, but that are still not selling the wine at the winery. So within
Which is a pity.
which is a pity, obviously, of course. So once this network was launched, we were only 6 founding members. Now we've been growing, and we are going to grow it a little bit again in the coming month or years. But one of my director had a great idea. He invented this Best of Wine Tourism contest. And that was already 19 years ago. We are launching the 19th edition of the contest next month. And this contest is awarding wineries for the quality of their welcoming visitors, for the excellence of their services, the services they offer, but also the quality of welcoming the visitors, which is really important for us. And this contest that is taking place in Bordeaux within 7 different categories is also taking place in all the wine regions of the Great Wine Capital. So once we have our Bordeaux awarded winners, then we take them up to the international level. And we have more or less every year 10 international winners, 10 to 12 international winners. We have in Bordeaux around 20 best of winners, but 7 of them being gold winners. Should I continue, or it was just an introduction? Excuse me.
I'm sure we'll come back, definitely on that. Let's go ahead and let Laura
Excuse me.
yourself, please. No.
No problem. So, bonjour, good morning, everybody. I'm not from Bordeaux, I'm Italian, sorry. But I would like to say that I'm probably a wine area citizen around the world, because I've been working for the hospitality and the wine and spirit business for the last 21 years. So not very young as well. And I had the chance to work for a long time with Château France. And thank you, Brigitte, for the presentation you've made. Very interesting about the past and now, because 20 years ago wasn't the same. When I started in France, I had the chance to lead champagne homes, what as we call at Pernod Ricard. We call our visitor center and our chateau and site our homes. So, and today, since 2020, in full pandemic, I took the responsibility of the 45 brand homes around the world for Pernod Ricard. So spirits and wine. That's why I would like to say that I'm always talking about wine tourism, but as well spirit tourism, which is much more recent, but is growing and growing, and even with great examples in France and abroad. We are present in 20 countries, so we touch with our location all the continents. So we have in New Zealand and Australia wine areas for Church Road and Jacobs Creek and St. Hugo, for example. We are present in La Rioja Alavesa, so in Spain, but as well in Napa and Sonoma, and as well in spirits, so in Ireland and Scotland. We are in gin. So I will be glad to share with you all what we're doing in terms of experiences, and I'm very passionate, as all the Italians we are. So thank you for inviting me and sharing with you all today. Sorry at distance for safety reasons, as I had some contact cases around me, so I couldn't join you in Bordeaux today.
Okay, thank you, Laura. I'd like to start out with a few general questions that we can answer, and then I'm sure we'll be going to things that are a bit more specific afterwards. Brigitte talked about in her conference some of the new evolution in not only in the client, but in the offer over the last few years and how that's developed. I would like to hear from each of you, and maybe particularly from Cécile and Laura, who are kind of on the ground, as it were, what things that you have put in place in the last few years have worked, and what things have maybe not worked so well? What are some of the recent evolutions that have been successful or less so?
Would you like to start, Laura, or shall I?
I can do it quickly, and it's. I think for me the question is complex, but at the same time I will focus only on one one very big element that worked the best, and is the destination. Brigitte told before about this ecosystem that we're creating. Even in very old places, as some champagne houses, champagne home, like Perrier-Jouët, for example, we created destinations. So what is working is definitely when you provide many passion points and you take to have the people coming to your doors, not only just to spend 1 hour and do a tour and a tasting, but you provide a destination. I have a few examples. I am in one of these. Ricard is not necessarily one of the most expected place that you're going maybe to visit in France with all the wine regions we have. And this year, so in 2021, in July, we opened MX Marseille, with really a destination near the museum in Marseille, so to relaunch an area, a urban area of Marseille, and talk about not only the product, but why in Provence, why Béarnese, why it's cultural. So people are not just coming to say, okay, I love pastis and I want to discover how Ricard is done, so I go there. But I go there to discover the cultural reason why also these are the roots are there. I mentioned as well Perrier-Jouët. Perrier-Jouët, maybe you know this famous international global brand, but very exclusive and boutique champagne. We never had opened the cellars of Perrier-Jouët till last year. And we decided to open an ecosystem called Belle Époque Society. So we have the chance at Perrier-Jouët to have the biggest and private collection of Art Nouveau in Europe. So this was like a secret before. Today we said, let's welcome people. There is the Champagne Museum opened by the city of Épernay, opened last year as well. And in front of it, we decided to open this destination, not only with a champagne experience, a champagne bar, with conferences, with a retail experience we can make. I'm talking about retail experiences because yes, people are coming, people are tasting, we are sharing our passion with people, but people want to as well bring back those souvenirs and that particular bottle that they love. So we cannot be any more shops. So I think to answer the second part, the less, of course, is an easy answer for me because 42% of the footfall in our local globally was international travelers. And so we were much more focusing on offers for our international wine lovers and enthusiasts. So that part we needed to rethink totally and rethink locally, because actually we welcome lots of people coming from Champagne, from Paris, in the Champagne areas, or as well in Cognac, another ecosystem destination we created. Cognac is very small. And in France, few people knows that Cognac is an ecosystem today. At Martel, you can have a cultural foundation, Fondation d'Entreprise. You have a rooftop bar with very trendy alcoholic and non-alcoholic cocktails, and you have as well an experience of tasting, premium experiences. So I think the part to rethink for locals, because we had much less international travelers, which were our strength offer in the past. So we really needed to rethink that part. And sometimes the locals are not coming once. So you need to reinvent continuously for them, because you are living, you are a brand home, as we say, a home inside their own city home. So they want to come back to you, but not to live the same experience and the same tasting and the same tour and the same every time. So, and another thing work very well, I would say, is the starting interesting part with the virtual. It was quite scaring a lot of us before the COVID, because it was just starting, and there is, for me, it's a more overwhelmed area because there is a lot of virtual tasting. There is a lot of offer, so people get a little bit lost on that. But if you're looking for very qualitative and very straightforward and with the right aim, not only lost in just a sequence of full tasting of 5, 6 different wines or spirits, even if it's with the educational purpose, you need to be very sharp and very right to do correctly in the virtual world. I leave you the word, sorry, to be long.
Much. Okay, Cécile. what's your take?
So the offers that we have that worked didn't work at the Château. I'm talking in the last 5 years. I'm not talking about COVID or not the COVID. The thing that worked, it has to be educational. It has to be fun. That's what we have, and that's what need to be that we need to work with. So I'm talking about educational and fun. What should be another this 4 day, for example, it's a blending session, 2 hours. We explain how we worked here at the Château, but they also have the chance to play the little chemist and be able to bring back their own blend. So it works perfectly on its own. It works with seminars, but it also works with individuals. Part of a full day, like we can carry on with the lunches, with the dinners, or something like that. But it works perfectly because it's educational and it's fun. And we added another tour this year. For example, we bought 4 scooters, huge scooters, and they are yellow. Château Dauzac, yellow brand, yeah. Pretty good. Exactly the same one. So we bought 4 scooters, actually 5 scooters, and we can drive all around the estate, being able to introduce our guests about the biodiversity that we have here at the Château. It's not only vineyards, but it's also meadows. We have the prairie, we have the river just nearby. So we go and have a look at the river. So it's really the experience, and it has to be. We cannot do discovery tour anymore for all the guests. It worked with some. They have some people coming, having 45 minutes to 1 hour to do the tour. They learn about the history, the vinification process, what do we have, Cabernet Sauvignon, we have Merlot. They need to know that, but they also need, for some, to have an extra, and we need to provide that extra to foreign visitors, for the guests that we have. And we had some experiences that didn't work, but they are really good for communication. I've got one that I'm keeping on my booklet all the time. It's we do have an experience. It sounds pretty fun on the paper. It's pairing our wines with Wagyu beef. It's a really high-end type of meat, but at the end, I'm not pushing on that visit. This is really complicated to put in place. I need to have a cook. I need to. So at the end, when someone is asking, can we do that, I may push something else than this one. But in terms of communication, when I do have press releases about the hospitality that we have at the Château, this one is always the one that the journalist will pick. So I'm keeping this one only for communication. And we have to think also that for hospitality, when we talk about the hospitality is the communication of the Château. We are the only one having face-to-face with the customer, because as we were saying before, most of the wine that we sell will be sold by the merchants. So being at the Château, opening the doors means that we can meet the final consumers. Communication is free. And it's important also when we are being on the pages of Terre de Vin, if we are talking about the wine tourism, they are coming for free usually. So it gives another image to the Château than the one that we pay to be on the last page of Vigneron, Decanter, whatever. So it's also a good thing for us to have something a little bit different that the journalist can speak of. So I won't say this is a failure, because it's not a big hit in terms of reservation and booking, but at the end, it works in another way we talk about in the press. So, yeah.
So what I'm hearing also from both of you is in addition to trying to find an added experience, added value, something different, you're also trying to get the guests to spend more time at the winery and therefore create, I suppose, some loyalty. I know that one of the challenges in tourism in general in France has been that tourists do not stay very long. Many of them are just passing through, many of them are staying. How do you see that as being a challenge for wine tourism in particular? You know, are there things in place that you're trying to do to make people extend their stay, spend more time? Because if they spend all day, for example, at Château Dauzac and doing all these things, then they still have maybe want to discover other parts of Bordeaux, so they would perhaps extend their stay. So, Brigitte,
I think it depends where the people come from, because in reality, wine tourism can be a reason to come, which is the idea to maybe some visitors would have not come to Bordeaux if they didn't had a visit to the wineries.
Right.
On the other side, I think people, if you see the city of Bordeaux, the average of stay is 4 nights, which is very important for a city. And it's because we have the wineries also around. So it means that you can stay in Bordeaux and go to a winery, go back, or go and visit 2 wineries. And I think what the wineries, but you would be better to answer, are also proposing today experience that can be a day in a winery. So it was in the past only you go there to make a wine tasting and then you go back. But what Céline explained, or Laura also, constructing a destination is offering the possibility to stay longer and to spend more money, because to be honest, it's also, if you feel well, if you are in a nice environment, then you like to enjoy time and also spend a little bit more money than you would have done previously. And for the destination, I say destination is a region. It's a pleasure when you have a lot of opportunities, and wine tourism become an activity that you do. You know, you are in Bordeaux, one day you do wine tourism, the other day visit a museum, the third day go to the seaside. And we see this evolution on the national level, that wine tourism is becoming an activity that you do during your holidays.
among others?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So it developed the number of people that are making wine tourism also, because they are not only specialists, they are also people having holidays and thinking that they want to spend one day in the vineyards.
I had a question also, perhaps more for Catherine. When the work that you're doing and the contest that you're doing with the Great Wine Capitals and all that, concretely, what has been the effect on the influx of tourists? You know, are they coming specifically for those properties, or are they coming and saying, well, as long as I'm there, let's go to this property?
Well, to be honest, they're not coming to visit the Best of Wine Tourism awarded winery. What we're doing with our winners, beside the fact that we promote them still, we still have websites, different websites, social media, etc., to promote them. But we are, I mean, we don't have the financial means to really go general public in terms of promotion. So what we're mainly doing is promote those wineries towards tourism professionals and travel agencies, and that's what we're doing.
The industry.
Hey, you bring your clients or your customers to Bordeaux, take them to a Best of winery, because for sure they will be happy, and there is a huge range of different activities that you can find. You know, we talked about the 7 categories, but within those categories, they also have diversity, of course. So that's what we are more focused on. Yeah.
Okay. And have you seen again a concrete
and the wineries say that they do have much more clients, visitors coming through these professional networks than before. Yeah, I mean, we also organize B2B speed business meetings, for example, between the wineries and the incoming travel agencies. For example, we do that in Bordeaux, but we also do that in other places as well. You know, to really to get the agencies that sell tourism really know what services are offered, so that they can select according to their own clients. You know, type of clients, if they are families, if they are individuals, if they are wine amateurs or groups of friends, etc. They can select the correct
Okay, yeah.
destination.
This label is also very important because it increases the level of the wineries, and that's nice because being part in the contest, it makes you makes efforts to be the best, and that's very useful to make all the offer developing on a good level, and that was really an improvement due to the best of.
Yeah,
And I suppose too that for the professionals that you are aiming this toward, that gives them a little extra boost to their offer.
Yeah.
When they develop something. That also kind of leads into a question that for Mary, as you know, Decanter Tours, you know, tour agency. So you are, you know, developing these specialized offers for your clients. How has the user experience? We were talking about reservations earlier. It's not the same as it used to be, and in terms of you getting the customers and how that evolved, what can you say about that? How do you see it going forward?
Well, it's definitely gone more online, more virtual. We've moved to a online booking system where they can book and pay directly. And it gets more confusing because there are more offers. It's not just the typical cookie cutter visit with tasting of 2 wines, you're in and out in less than an hour. Now there's just about everything on offer because of the best of wine tourism, and the people are really improving their offers. So we have a panoply of visits and cooking demonstrations and wine and food pairings and wine and yoga, which I've been doing for years, wine and golf, which I love, and also sleeping at the chateaus. All of that did not exist 25 years ago. So there's a whole lot more on the plate. And so our website has gone from maybe 5 pages to 200 pages to have to offer all of this. And then the online booking. The clients used to call me and talk to me for about a half an hour and tell me everything that was in their cellar and what they had for dinner last night. And all that's gone. The contact with the client is still there, and that will never go away. But they've already done their research. They know where they want to go. They know what Dauzac is offering. They know what everybody else is offering. So they pretty much know what they want. And then they come to us to put it all together. And so it's all online. It's almost immediate, but we still have that contact because it's still a people business. We'll never go 100% virtual. It's still all about the experience and the sharing of culture. And, you know, our tagline is wine is for sharing. You can't, you know, have that on your own, in your own living room. So, so online, yes, but still keeping that personal contact.
Good. By the way, don't hesitate if you have questions, because we're just up here, but if you have something, anybody have a question for the moment, or?
I have one. It's that recently we have seen that every chateau is making their own hospitality, like hotels. For one, when we visited the Château, they were talking about the hotels. So this, how do you think that means? What will be the frontier for them to visit? Will it be the hotels for the guests, or will it be the vineyards?
So we are planning on opening not an hotel but a guest house. Dauzac, we are on the same level in terms of the owners were friends before. So yeah, before. So they are working in the same way. The owner that we have in Château, his name is Christian Rouleau. He's the owner of a group called Samsic in France, dealing with all corporate services, security, cleaning, teaching. But now part of the family business is hotels that is running the thalassotherapy that we have in Brittany, Conquer, Pornic. So, so hotel is there was in the family office. Although you have the hotels and then you have the wine business. So we are linking all together by renovating the chateau that we have. So we have 6 rooms next year. And I think, on my part, that people will come to the hotel and then they will share the experience of the vineyards. But there will be that will be an experience, being on the vineyards, being out of the city, staying in the middle of the vineyards, but they won't come for the wine. They will come for the hotel, because we will be high-end guest house, 5 stars kind of. So they will come for that, being around vineyards, and then we'll have to show them how we make the wine.
So the offer mostly will be of hospitality, or more than the vineyard, or
It
the
depends.
winterism.
I think it depends on the clients. No?
It will depend on the clients, but being really close from Bordeaux, being the first chateau that you will find from Bordeaux in the vineyards, will be also saying it's an open door. You have the house, and then you have all the way up to Saint-Estèphe to visit the vineyards, and Château Dauzac will be opening the doors, of course, for them. But I think they will go first for the hotel, knowing the wine, and then we will meet in order to introduce or to carry on with the wines that we produce. But of course, we are wine producers. We are not. It won't be an hotel. It's a guest house, and we are still wine producers at the chateau. So the hospitality won't be higher than the wine.
I think that nowadays, during and after the COVID crisis, it's really a expectations of travelers and visitors, they know they will have to sleep somewhere, and wine tourism is definitely something that gets good opportunities thanks to COVID, because people, would rather stay in a nice guest house with only 4, 5, 6 rooms, rather than go to a international hotel where they will be among 500 people or 80 people during breakfast, etc. I think this was definitely one expectations of the first summer after the first wave. But I think this will be also this part of this will keep going, and people would rather go not far from the city, but on the countryside, rather than if they can, of course, if they have the means to do so, rather than this. So I think
instead of staying in a hotel, being in the chateau, in the vineyards, then they will be able to understand the French Chardonnay that they are looking for.
This is definitely something that we saw this last year. We talk about drink less, but drink better, more quality, less quantity. I find that in the wine tourism sector as well. Most of our clients last year had phenomenal wine tours and stayed in beautiful guest houses and spent a little bit more money than they probably would have. And most of them came over on private jet, which is, we would have had 1 or 2 every year. So I find that spending on holidays, there's a little bit more priority to have that quality family and friends time, and places like Dauzac, when you can sleep in a vineyard. I mean, how cool is that? You don't get to do that every day.
Laura, I don't hesitate to jump.
Yes, if I may be add, because I perfectly agree with all you ladies, and I think there is one word very important. People are really looking to money can buy, even if that chateau is going to open the doors for like guest house, hotel, hospitality. For me, it's all about hospitality, and they're seeking more to go out of the route, out of the path. Everybody wants to much more meaningful meeting with people and meaningful thoughts and memories to create. I always say that actually when we work in wine and spirit tourism or travel, we are creators of emotions and connections. If people are just coming, are not at least now for the brands we have today, are not coming anymore just because they are that brand lover. Take it, the Absolute Vodka. Maybe yes, you got the enthusiast of that brand, but I guess that around the table nobody knows where is really the city where we have our home. there. So if we open those paths out of the Stockholm idea of absolute, out of maybe the typical area where we imagine that brand, we open our heritage side, that's money can buy. And so that's the link that we're creating with those people, because they feel privileged to say, I was there, and in that evening I met the majordome in that château, and the chef was telling me that recipe because I love that sauce made. And this deep connection out of the path is not established typically and in big crowded groups. This is the way I think the wine and spirit tourism has changed a lot in the last 10 years. Before, even 20 years ago, if you wanted to go and visit those chateaux, you needed to go sometimes only with groups and well-organized agencies, because there was no way to have some of the doors open. Today, we can open those doors even to individuals and to propose something a little bit more particular and bespoke. At least in the limit of the bespoke. Sometimes we can do bespoke, but at a very high level, but we can even do bespoke for quite a number of people. So for me, this memory we create is unique, and this going out of the path. And you can go out of the path if you are in a urban, very urban and crowded destination. Can believe me, the majority of the places we have are in rural community and very out of the path. I was talking about Absolute Home located in a house in South Sweden, but as well, if I'm thinking about Casa Altos of our tequila, is not in Tequila City, is in Jalisco, and you really need to go there. And there we have the possibility to stay, because it's much more, stay in that house, which is the only, Casa Alto is the only place where you can sleep inside the distillery. For the law, I think in France it would be very complicated to do, respect to safety, but we could do it there. And so you have really behind the door and behind the wall one of the bedroom, you got the still pot. Huh? So those are those moments, that wow moment, opening the door of a chateau is creating that memory. I'm quite ambitious. I would like to be one of the 5 life memory of people coming, and that emotion brings them to talk, to enrich their lives, and to talk about the experience they had, and to talk about to others, to friends, and to share. So mainly connections, emotion, and sharing for me.
We talked about also about the evolution of wineries being open to the public, and especially here in Bordeaux. You know, I've been here about as long as Mary has, about 25, 26 years. And of course, I remember, you know, you might have the open doors twice a year, but otherwise, you know, there was no way to visit a place. So we've seen obviously a very positive evolution for that. Are there any figures about percentages of wineries that are open to the public in France or in Bordeaux? I know we can't give specific numbers, but
Margot, that will be 17 estates that in the Margot application we do have 17 estates that will be professionally open to visitors.
Okay.
Not like having like it used to be, having the export assistant doing the visit or opening a bottle because there was 2 people coming, and they would be able to sell. So in the Margot appellation, 17
out of
21 that would be classified, plus
about 60 in total. Yeah. Will it be a requirement almost going forward in the future for estates to be open to the public? Is that really going to be?
I think for the estate, it has to be something that they are willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot force the opening. Some shops don't want to open. They want to keep the door closed, like Château. They want to keep it closed. They could open the doors and say we could share the way that we are doing the wine, and they don't want it. They don't have anyone to professionally being able to do the tours and everything. And that's why maybe like the first Grand Cru Classé, I don't know if you visited all of them, but it's not the best
No.
tourism experience that I had
Not the most
as a
pleasant.
client and
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
Like when it's not something that they are not passionate about, and they don't think about the hospitality as a way of creating the new ambassadors of their brand.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. We create the new ambassadors of our brands. That 2 years from now, they will pick one bottle of Dauzac if they came to the chateau, and they will be able to remember what they did over there, what they had, the experience that they had. So we are creating the new ambassadors. But I don't think there's really numbers.
Well, we can
Yeah,
make,
we have
Go ahead.
no, we have numbers.
Yes.
In reality, if you look to Vignoble des Découvertes, the label I was
Right.
explaining before, we are having 700 enterprises having this label
Right.
in all the départements Gironde,
Right.
in the surrounding of Bordeaux. Because when we speak about wine tourism, there are a lot of differences between what you can have and do and experience. If you look to people coming with a jet, a private jet, they are very different to the one going in Cadillac, tasting a wine and eating a piece of duck Sunday for lunch.
Yeah.
But they are all wine tourists. It means it depends if you speak about people coming from all the world, very being rich enough to come with a private jet. It's a small amount. They spend a lot of money. We are very satisfied to have them. But the bigger part of wine tourists are people having holidays in the region, and during their holidays they want to visit a place, and they can go there to buy their rosé wine they will use around the barbecue, because it's also that the reality of wine tourism. So we speak about a big range, a large range of activities, and that make it nice also. And I totally agree with what Cécile was saying about, if you do wine tourism, do it really because you want to do it, and as a special activity. But it doesn't mean that the people that are not able to pay for a full-time person making wine tourism cannot do wine tourism in a nice way. But they have to be very professionalized the moment they do it. If they said, I'm open every Saturday afternoon, it's better than to say, I'm open every day and you are never there. It's better you say, okay, it's every Saturday afternoon, but then you are sure that every Saturday afternoon you have a nice experience. And this is all these differences. And I think the use of the best of, as an example for me, is the opportunity to make differences. Because when you have an offer composed by 700, why to go there or not to go there or not to go there? And even me, when I'm traveling in the wine region, our wine region, and I know very well, much more than a lot of persons. And I still am surprised to see where it's written open and it's closed. I know it's written open, but you don't know at what time it opens really. Or even if we make a lot of efforts to increase the level and the quality of the offer, it's still not so easy. And the best of is a way to say, if you go to a best of, then you will have a special experience. We know that this experience will be a good one. But I can tell you, even for me, knowing a lot of wineries, sometimes I go to Rue de Vigneron to book a visit because it's easier. I'm sure it will be open. I'm sure it will be welcome. And I don't have to call 10 people to be sure that it will be open, even if it's written open. Because, okay, we are here in a special group, but we are very proud of the evolution and how we succeed to structure our offer. But the reality is also that it's not so easy, but it's still, we are in favor of visits having a price, because there are still wineries where you go and taste for free. But for us, it's important because it makes it easier for a person to go and pay an entrance, a ticket, a tasting, because they are not afraid of, oh, may I go or I don't go, or I have to buy a bottle or I don't have to buy a bottle. It's clear. And you know, you go, you pay for your visit, you can buy your wine, you know exactly what. the same as if you go to a restaurant, you have a menu. If you go to a shop, you have a price. Why should it be different in a winery? And all this make it easier and also professional, even if you are not able to have someone full-time in your winery. So I think it's a very big range of offer, and we are using different way to know which kind of visit we will have, and best of are helping to be sure that the experience will be at a nice level.
Is there an untapped market for the typical tourists? We talked about, 47 years old, more or less, 2/3 of them are men, 1/3 women, certain, spending power. How has that evolved, and how is it going to evolve in your opinion? And we'll talk about the untapped market afterwards. But how do you think, where's that going? Is that going to stay the same, or are we going to open up a bit more?
Brigitte was talking earlier about the local market, and certainly last year and the year before was definitely the locals. And they were younger. A lot of people in the chateau said they were younger, and they filled up their car, like you said. I see that continuing, because now that the younger clientele have learnt about the wine destinations, they've realized it's a really good thing to do. I think people will continue. People from further afield, my clientele, who are predominantly American, English, Australian, from the far corners of the world, they'll continue, like you said, they're going to come back. But I think for now, in the interim, it's definitely local.
Okay,
definitely local, I see.
There's something that is also now, people are looking into before they would select a visit, beside the fact that they have won an award or being labeled, etc. Is this sustainability thing, Brigitte talked about that earlier in the presentation. I think it is now becoming one criteria for many to select a winery to visit. Our friend from Rue des Vignerons explained recently that pre-COVID, when you were on the app, to select a visit, there was this criteria of does this winery have a whatever bio or sustainable practices at the winery? This criteria was used by about 15 to 20% of the people who would book a visit. And now, after COVID, it's up to 30%. And if you take the Bordeaux wineries, it's up to 50%.
Wow.
So that's 50% of people, selecting a winery to be visited on Rue des Vignerons in Bordeaux. We'll use this kind of criteria.
And
that may not be the only one, but that is one important.
Are you seeing that with a particular demographic or age range or anything like that, or is that across the board?
Across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Rue des Vignerons is someone that is being used by millennials. It's easy. I just take my phone. I pick a tour. So I think millennials are more willing to be sensitive to sustainability, even though.
I have the impression that it was appearing before COVID, and in my opinion, it's more, maybe not the half of the population, but even booking. To give you an example, booking first started to make an environmental criteria, and they had to take it away because the people were not buying the hotels thinking that it would be more expensive. So they put it in, then out, and they re-put it in now because I know that they need it for the clients. So this tendency will stay or even increase. It doesn't mean that everybody is using it as a criteria, but it's mixed in the criteria, and it's a criteria that the people want to know.
About half of the visit that I do are about sustainability.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
I'm not against sustainability, and I think it's a good thing to explain the way that we are producing the wine and trying to be as green as possible. But I don't check all the boxes. Like we are not HVE. We are HV, but we are not bio, we are not biodynamic or anything, so we don't check all the boxes, but is really part of the educational that we do at the Château, educate on the way that we are doing the wine. Yeah, the Bordeaux bashing that you were talking about earlier was something that was really important on the vision that people had.
And I think that wine tourism is definitely one of the best tools to educate people. I mean, the regular people, the regular consumer, when they visit, it's the best place ever to explain what sustainability is about, because we have the production, we have the bottling things, we have the bottles that you mentioned, but also in terms of wine tourism activities, what are you going to do, to support this, and just show transparency, of course, and consistency is essential there, because you're not going to do I am sustainable, and when people come they realize that you're not. So it's it's really
I think
important.
there are a lot of people who don't really a lot of the public who don't really know exactly what does sustainability in a vineyard entail. What is sustainable as what is not. This morning in the conference they were talking about replacing wooden boxes with a sort of a reusable cardboard, something like that. And see, if I didn't know better, I would think, well, wood is better than plastic, so they must be sustainable. But in fact, there's even more you can do there. So I think that's educating the public is also part of it as well.
I think it's really key education in all the steps of sustainability, and as well on responsible drinking. We were talking and mentioning that part before. So definitely from my side, from what I'm observing around the world, the eco-conscious, as I can call them like that, the eco-conscious travelers are not only millennials, are mainly the millennials are very attached to that point, but all the categories of ages, and honestly the profile is really changing. We can see even in spirits. Before in whiskey travel, we're supposed to have only over 50, lots of money to buy. I invite you to go and see in Speyside the average age of the people going now in Scotland. And even if you think about one of our competitors who open in Edinburgh, Johnny Walker, Edinburgh and Prince Street, we need to mention, I mean, this is targeting absolutely lifestyle younger generations. So eco-conscious for me is across all the visitors we're receiving, and as well this responsibility. I think it is really our duty. I always say that when people are coming to our cellars, our distillery, those are the unique place. We can make brand experiences everywhere and well done, but our places, and that's why for me it's our duty and our mission, are the only one on earth where the liquid inside a bottle actually is taking life, and is taking life in front of the visitors. So we have people who decided to come to our doors, minimum to stay 1 hour and a half. So there is a huge opportunity for them to learn, but for us to educate them, as you said, the difference. They don't know what's sustainable between wood, paper, what's more or less in the vineyards, why you don't use some, why you're using some product or not. People are thinking just you spray product on the vineyard is like a big danger. They don't know even the difference. And as well on drinking, I'm very conscious about this, because the future of our business in general, and not only tourism business, but wine and spirit business, is about education. So, for example, in Inverroche in South Africa, in our gin brand home, we open a gin school, but not to make just gin, but to talk about this. And as well in Polish Vodka Museum in Poland, in Warsaw, we made an association with the city of Warsaw, and we're delivering free trainings for all the people and all the staff of people opening restaurants and bars and on-trade outlets. So that's why I say it's our duty. Just to tell you a story, I'm Italian. I started working in Champagne. And when I started working in Cognac for Martel, all my friends told me, oh, wow, now you're drinking hard, huh? Cognac is not like wine, it's not like champagne. Those people don't even know that just an alcohol unit is the same. The glass of champagne contains 1 unit of alcohol, which is the same that 1 unit of cognac. It's not that I'm getting drunker because I'm having 1 cognac dose and alcohol unit, then champagne. So even if we try to make understand this easy, accessible information, we will definitely educate, and it's our commitment at Pernod Ricard. We committed by 2030 through our brand homes, through our visitor centers open to the public, to educate on the responsible drinking 10 million people by 2030. So, and it's a global mission to better build the future of the business and the pleasure of the travel and the pleasure to be in a good place from a good behavior as well. So this is coming together for us. So you can, and even in the travel itself, people, yes, maybe, Brigitte said today before that staying longer, not going just for a dinner or out and take a plane every 2 days to go to a different destination, like a urge to go, to be shown and on social, etc. So trying to educate, because we can build, and wine and spirit tourism responsible, spending the time and appreciating what is inside a bottle by the connection with our host, our ambassadors, educators, we can say, on those responsibilities.
Thank you, Laura. I would like to touch on before we get too far along, I would like to touch on future projects and future priorities for each of your respective organizations or places. Brigitte, would you like to just touch on?
I think the challenge to imagine what could be the wine tourism of the future, what can we invite new? Because we spoke about ways to make by distance, but my interest is that the people come to the place. So we see how we develop different type of visits, like wine and cheese, wine and chocolate, pairing, making your own Bordeaux blend. And sometimes I'm thinking, what can we invite new? And I'm sure we will find things, but this idea, what could be the next step? Okay, we can work on the process of the visit, in the meaning that the people can have it easier to taste something, then to get it home, then to all the process around the visit and around buying wine and getting it home. And this can always be better, certainly. Also, our capability to adapt more to the wish of the customer is certainly an aim that we can try to reach. But I would be interested in the new ideas we could find about new ways to involve in wine tourism. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I would be interested to think about what could be the next step to renew the interest and to again imagine something that we can share with our visitors.
Okay, Catherine, what about you? New projects, new priorities?
I think, yes, the challenge is that we have such a nice and offer nowadays with diversifications of products and services, etc. It's going to be difficult to find something more. So I think we may just do this, what we're doing, but maybe better. And again, back to sustainability, I think this is the challenge of nowadays and of the future in tourism, and in wine tourism in particular. And as far as Great Wine Capitals is concerned, we are very focused on sustainability in wine tourism, and we are actually partners of the Porto Protocol Foundation, which is an organization based in Porto, private-public organization that is really trying to find solutions for the wine industry to mitigate the impact of carbon footprint on their activities. Plus, we are now, it's going to be official when, in the coming days, we are now founding member of Sustainable Wine Roundtable, this new organization based in London, with a lot of wine councils from all around the world, where they want to define, to give a definition on the different level of sustainability in the wine industry. So we're starting from the production.
Give some
It's
clarity to that.
and Great Wine Capitals will actually be in charge of chairing a group to think about definition of sustainable wine tourism.
Okay.
So this is what's next on my list.
Good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cécile?
On a smaller level, our level. So yes, we will have that guest house that will open
Right.
in 2023. We work also on the social or on the local. We've been part of a group for the last 2 years now. We are organizing during the summer events every fortnight on Thursday after work with 7 different wineries. So we will be able to bring people from the area, and we are working in the Médoc. So from Pauillac to Médoc, we need nothing happens in those villages at night. And so we wanted to bring people from Bordeaux being able to enter the chateau in a different way. It's fun. We have music, we have tapas, we have also the different wines for the different wineries, and also have the people living in the Médoc, walking in the Médoc, stay in the Médoc at night in order to have a good time, and being able to enter the doors that they won't enter usually. I can see, I live around and I can see people that weren't going to come at the chateau in another moments, like coming on Saturday, paying the visits and this kind of thing. They are not going to do that, but because they came, because they tasted the wine, because they share the experience with the people, because we are still serving some wine, talking about the wine that we produce, they will come back on Saturday, maybe because they will have few friends coming, and on Saturday, the next Saturday, they will say, oh, okay, we can go in that chateau because they are open and they are fun and the chateau is beautiful, and so we are opening to locals like that, and we hope they will come. And it's actually working, and we started that association, I think, so the 5th year now. We started few chateaux, few people coming, and now we have about 250 people coming for each event. So in the middle at night on Thursday,
That's
I'm quite happy with
not
that,
bad.
with those results, and it's working pretty well, and it's getting so people are waiting on the next Thursday to watch what are going to be the next week. So this is one thing, and also wine tourism. Hospitality is also to sell wine, and for the chateau we started a year and a half ago a wine club. This is things that they do in the States, in Australia, in China, but we were one of the first Grand Cru Classé to open a wine club, and to share the enthusiasm that we have for our wines with clients coming, customers that came, but sometimes they weren't able to come and they are a member of the wine club, but we offer a special experience. They will be they have the membership. It's a free membership too, but they feel member of the chateau, and they have the opportunity to have a different experience because they are part of the wine club. So this is the new project that we have. It's a work in process, but we are working on that.
Mary, new projects, new priorities?
Well, for us, it's keeping up with all these changes, knowing what is accessible to our clients, and that means a huge database. So, and when we're talking online database, we're talking using up, carbon footprint. But for us, a priority is educating our guests in what is this HVE? What is this high environmental value? What does that mean? What is organics? I mean, most people today know what organics is, but biodynamics, what the heck is that? They have no idea. A lot of my clients never even thought about it. They've heard of biodynamics, they've heard of organic wines, and it's certainly selling in the shops enormously, but getting them educated on
Why should they be interested in that? And,
exactly. And on another subject, on a change in how we're working, we were talking about last minute. Our clients are booking, whereas they used to book 6 months to a year, maybe sometimes 2 years out for bigger groups. Now they're booking maybe 3 months, maybe 2 weeks out. So we have to be reactive. We have to be there. And that's why our online booking systems and our itinerary buildings, it's all going more and more online, more and more automated, and that sort of thing. And reassuring them that they are going to be safe. The reinsurance and the cancellation policies. Those are the biggest changes that we've seen, and that will continue to change because, and I would hope that the hotels will follow suit in that the cancellation policies are, they were very relaxed and now they're going back to being more stringent. I understand that we can't all refund money at the drop of a hat, but we have to all come in line in terms of what the clients want, because an American can say, I refute that charge, and poof, it disappears. Whereas in Europe, we can't do what they call a chargeback quite so easily. You can't, once you've spent your money on your credit card, it's spent. Whereas an American can get their money back like that, and then, you know, I have to pay for the pleasure of refunding them. So the cancellation policies is a very big part of what tomorrow is all about, and refunds and that stuff. And that's the changing market.
There's one thing that COVID also taught us, that we took a lot of time with the customers. Instead of having a tour that will be 45 minutes, now we've got 2 people coming. Oh, let's do a visit, and we spend 1 hour and a half for them. So it's really hard to go back on the way that we were doing before. So now we spend much more time with the guest. It could be 1 hour. When the tour was 1 hour mostly, it's more like 1 hour and a half. And instead of having 10 people all together, we do have 2, 4 people, no more than that. So we are also working in a different way, and I don't think it will be the same going forward.
And I think this is an international trend. Maybe Laura can confirm this, but you know, I spoke with my colleagues in Napa Valley, and they explained that with the COVID crisis, they had much lower numbers of visitors, of course, but they're going to keep it that way.
And it makes a different relationship with the guests.
They don't want to go back to this because it brings them other issues and problems. But now that they want to keep it that way, smaller numbers, bigger quality of, and then they are more people, what we experienced in Bordeaux as well. You know, people are feel more comfortable, and they will buy more wine at the end anyhow.
Okay, Laura, new project.
Definitely agree. So in few words, for us, the priority is our traveler, our visitors, actually starting from those people coming to our doors and listening. So, for example, one big priority is about social listening. We love or not, people are expressing a lot themselves through the social, and they're giving all opinions, they're putting reviews, and they're telling a lot about us. So we need absolutely to address how we listen, and really we readjust as well our experience through the words said on us, because always is important 3 elements: what people are thinking when they come to your doors, what they're feeling first, and then what they're saying. And so it's not only just review on TripAdvisor or on Google to be sure that we're high rated, it's to be sure that we are really addressing the right expectations. So that social listening is a great priority for us. Then as well, we talk a lot about SNR, so this part of the education and the responsibility that I'm not going to repeat myself because we were discussing. And about the audiences is a question how we address now local versus global. So we need to prepare to the international travelers coming back. And as I said at the beginning, in our case, 42% of our audiences were international arrivals. So today we can take care of those locals. When I say local, it's like 2 hours flying maximum around the destination. But then what about the future? So we need to think now how we address local versus global, and as well, the third, the virtual, to be different. All of you ladies said about how we can make that difference in this big offer and a wide offer that we have. So even on virtual, so these three part, virtual, local, global, is definitely our priority, and we are addressing this priority as well with external partners, because we assume that we cannot do everything by ourselves. We are wine and spirit producer. We're very great hospitality teams, but with external partners, like, for example, Fever App is a platform as well for experiences, and they're addressing, and they've got this social listening, very interesting social listening through their media secret, or maybe others. So stay tuned, because we have a big project launch in the next few months. So you're hearing about the Pernod Ricard brand homes at global scale, at global level, in terms of travel destination in a few months. And in terms of the two projects that I would like just to mention, we have two projects in spirit tourism, two very big ones. One is the refurbishment in the next 2 years of the Middleton in Cork, Middleton brand home. So it will become the home of our Irish distillers, Irish whiskies. So everybody in Ireland knows Guinness Storehouse and Bow Street in Dublin, but it exists a very old distillery as well called Middleton. So there is a great refurbishment of this experience area of one of the oldest whiskey distillery in Ireland. And the second one is in China. You probably read that Pernod Ricard started a multi-distillery in China, in Chuan, so near Chengdu. So for us, it's a huge new challenge in terms of travel, spirit travel. So in 2023, we will open the brand home related to this distillery. And for me, this is a great satisfaction, because 20 years ago, we will never imagine to open a distillery, plus immediately the place to welcome people and to share and learn. So this is a great, I think, achievement for all our business, that today when we think product, we think immediately consumer and visitors, and how we share this story of the product with the people are going to buy and taste it. So these are the main, and as well the clubs. I was reading Cécile about the wine clubs. Based on the experience on the wine clubs, now much more spirit brands are developing clubs, working very well. Barrel Club for our Irish distillers as well was launched last year. So clubs are now exported much more, as an example, in the spirit tourism as well.
And that's going to continue too, you believe?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, good. What about partnerships, affinity marketing partnerships? Because Cécile mentioned something, working with the different chateaus in the Médoc. I know that I think Atout France has done a lot of stuff with affinity marketing, working. Do you think that's something that's going to be expanding a lot more, working in partnership with other brands, or even outside of the wine region, but just to gain visibility? I don't know if anybody has any
For me, that's the future. Huh? That's the future, definitely. And I would love to be associated with one of your wines, with our cognac, ladies. No problem. We're not so far. So that's the future, definitely, to the partnership, because the more you mix passion points for the people, more you got the reason to create their own waving experience around the area they want to discover, and not only in wine and spirits, as you said, because we are sometimes other passion points that we could partner with, and they're very, you mentioned about the yoga, we can mention art, we can mention fashion, cooking, or it's really a wide world of partnership that we can really bring alive.
Do you have any questions from our faithful audience?
I have one more question. I'm going to drag the point of demographics, which you discussed before. In general, people, let's say, for example, France, they come to Paris. They don't. Most of them, they have no idea about wines of Bordeaux, Burgundy, Loire. They have no clue about that. That's why I think Paris is the #1 destination in the world currently. they come to just Paris in France. I mean, being an Indian, I know, like for cognac example, people think cognac is the drink. There's no place called cognac or Armagnac. They have no clue about it. So it's very important to educate them. Like, yeah, cognac is a place where they have these grapes, they from this eau de vie, this drink comes. It's very important. But again, how do you think, like, to expand this from globally, this education globally, like for example to India or to African countries or anywhere in the world? How do you think, how would you globalize this education outside of France, America, Australia, New Zealand, for both wines and spirits together?
Do you know how many WSET courses there are online today? Tons. Wine education online, and this goes to what we were talking about technology earlier. Wine education online is growing, and I think it will continue to do so. There's loads of bloggers, loads of, and I'm looking at Jennifer, loads of people who are doing more and more wine. It's difficult to do a wine tasting online, but they're doing it, and it's succeeding.
And they're teaching people about,
Yeah.
So,
And it's working.
I think the increase of bloggers, influencers, is helping that effort, to educate people.
I think if you look to the work done by Atout France, we are trying our best to inform, to explain also what is France, because if you look from far away foreign countries, Paris is very famous, but a lot of other destinations, they don't know the content of the destination, even Bordeaux, because you were telling about cognac, but I remember some years ago, and if you go to some countries, the people, they don't know that Bordeaux is a city. Is it a city? Is it a region? Is it just a wine? Could be a village. Nobody knows. And I think also never everybody will know, because it's not a problem in reality. What is important is that we succeed to give the information to the people needing the information, or to the people we want to explain, but we will never succeed to make everybody know everything, and it's not a problem. A lot of Indians will never come to Bordeaux, and they will never be interested in wine, and that's not a pity. But what is important for me is that the people interested in wine in India, they got the good informations, and that's our goal, because that all the people in the world will be interested in everything, that's impossible. So we don't want to reach this goal. But what is important is that the people interested in the wine can find the good information. And if you look to France, France is a very centralized country, and it was structured historically as a centralized country. If you compare to Italy, Italy is having a lot of very famous towns. You can look to Rome, of course, but Venezia, then Florence, then I can name, even me, I can name a lot of cities well known around the world. Around the world, you know Paris, and you must be educated to know other cities in France. But it's a result of centuries of history and structuration of our country. We are doing our best to make our own capital city, regional capital city, well known, but they will always be different to regional capital city of a decentralized country, and we have to deal with that. We have to promote knowing this historical reality. It doesn't decrease, it doesn't reduce our wish, but it makes it at the real level. This history is very difficult to fight against because it's our history. Then we have to do with this difference.
That's why I didn't put up the United States, because in the United States, there's no centralization. You can go directly to California and do that stuff. And it's not like people are more focused on New York, Washington, or anywhere else. But whenever I come to France, in the topic of France, it's generally Paris. Oh, yeah. And I just have to go and tell them, no, there are many more cities over there.
But you know, in the States, they are producing wine in all the states of the United States. They produce wine.
Not all good about. Yeah, it's not all good.
No, but everywhere. So.
I have a question. Maybe it's related to the question of Roy. Actually, yes, in Paris, I used to welcome guests at the Hotel de Crillon when I was there for 2 years before the COVID crisis. And when we serve wine that is not the Grand Cru Classé, they know about them all. So no surprises, they know what they are drinking. But when we took a different wine and we serve it, they are really always curious about the storytelling, and they want to visit directly the producer, and they can do that because we used to deal with a lot of last minute visits directly. My question is, because we've worked on one of the Château Georges VII, which is listed in the best of wine. So there's a link and all that.
Best of winner, gold winner.
Exactly, and we improved their, we give suggestion directly to the owner regarding the wine tourism offer. What do you think is the opportunity for these little small properties in the wine regions that could be maybe supported by either big scale structure like the best of wine, or maybe the clubs that you said it related to the region itself? Like we can see, like, for example, in Bordeaux, there is a lot of trend now for the hospitality sector related to clubs. Like, for example, the Club Hôtelier is doing a lot of common objectives and goals, even for the recruitment itself. What do you think on the wine level that could be related on maybe local or international targets, for example, for people that are coming just to have a wine tasting in a hotel and they want to maybe experience a different kind of tourism and go directly to the property or to the region? Do you have any maybe strategy about this, or do you think it's really specific and there's not a lot of people that are interested in this type?
No, I think in the regions we have strategies, in the meaning that we have relations with the people in the hotel, and they know where they can send people, and in
The concierge.
I know, and I see that everywhere, and even we work in this Vignoble Découverte, the restaurants, they are serving wines, and they should be able normally to say, you can go and visit, you like the wine, please go there and visit, you will be hosted there. So it's really our aim, and we are trying to do that everywhere.
There's also partnerships between the chateaux. I don't think about ours, but there's also in the Southern area, for example, when they do a vino, I can't remember the name, vino passport or something like that. So you have 7 different wineries, you get a stamp, and then at the end you can have 1 bottle free in 1 chateau or something like that. There's the same thing, I think, in Château Opéra.
Around something.
Those kind of things can bring people to, and we are also directing people to others winery when they stop. For example, I'm the first one on the right. They stop here and they're asking, where shall I go? And I'm always thinking about our colleague. We are not thinking about competitors.
Okay.
As we all have different experiences to sell, and also people are coming to us. We bring 1, 2 bottles, 1 case or whatever, but they will also go to the other ones. And so we have to, and most of the time when you do tours, thinking about what one chateau could bring to the customers. So sometimes you do a small winery, then a Grand Cru Classé. So you have to walk in variety, and we can also be advisors on that. The concierge can do that, the restaurants. And so we are also able to direct people to others.
Well, I think we have reached the end of our allotted time. So first of all, I would like to thank our audience here, and thank you for participating. And a special thank you to Mary, Cécile, Laura, Catherine, Brigitte. I think we've all gotten a lot out of this. So thank you again for your participation. Thank you, Miss Andrea, for the organization. Farewell. Anyway.
And you know that you have a lot of people in a distance.
Yes,
Look-
yes. Both
Hearing
are
and looking
thinking,
at us.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Anyway,
Thank you
so
for
Oh,
moderating.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you.